April 2nd, 2020, day 14 of my personal journal as a laboratory technician going through the epidemic of COVID-19. So if you were to make $1 a second, it would take you nearly 3,000 years to have more money than Bill Gates. Got nothing to do with anything, just numbers. So anyway, what's going on today? Hey, you can come on in. You don't be so shy. Come on in. Normally I don't let people in my house. I don't know if any of you out there are the same way, but that's usually my rule. So anyway, with COVID-19 acting the way it is, coming around the globe as a world pandemic, it's doing a lot of disruption to the economies and healthcare systems, and just wreaking havoc on everything it does. But one thing that I think we really need to be thinking about is the supply chain. Now we know that the supply chain has messed up a lot of our wants, wishes, and desires for, most noted in the news is for our personal protective equipment, for the frontline people, and not talked about as much as just for general public. But anyway, aside from that point, there's some other disruptions in supply chain that may catch up to us later, and you might want to be thinking about. What I'm talking about is food. They have assured us that there'll be enough food, and I'm not saying go out and be hitting the shelves at Walmart like everybody else, or at Aldi, or doing any of that. Hey, just sit still. Just stay right there. My point is that at a later date, on down the road, there could be some disruptions. Coming into the summer and then into the fall, basically you got to think about the fact of how much food that we actually do import. Okay? How much of that food has been disrupted? How many of those farmers are not getting those crops out, or how many of those farms are not going to have people to be working the farms or harvesting the farms, or how many of those right now that have the food aren't sending it out, for one, because most of the shipping has been shut down, and two, because they want to conserve it themselves. If you want just a little tidbit to follow up on that, look at where most of the wheat comes from, and the grains and the rice and everything. And just take a peek, see at what those people are doing right now with their stores, we'll call it. Because the United States itself doesn't have any grain stores. It's nearly zero. So anyway, just a little bit of food for thought there. So, what am I going to do about it? Well, there's a few different things that you can do about it. And of course, the most common thought of it is, to grow a garden. So, I've tilled up a little spot and trying to make my final decisions on what I'm going to do on that, because, it is April, and, if you want to get into that, you need to look and see, what you need to plant when, because, it kind of goes in stages, and there's a little bit of a thought process to it and everything. But I'm not here to go through all of that right now. I will give you one tidbit about planting seeds. If you don't know the difference between heirloom seeds and non-heirloom seeds, a lot of people don't realize that the seeds that they buy in the store, often than not, are non-heirloom seeds, which basically means that they will pretty much only grow for one season. And if you try to use it for seed, it normally doesn't grow very good. It's basically a marketing ploy by the geneticist that designed those seeds and those plants. So no pun intended, that's food for thought too. So maybe you want to go with a non-GMO, non-genetically modified seed base that is heirloom. In other words, that you can keep some of the seed and use it again, and then that next season use some of those seeds, and you know, you could just keep using it that way. I actually have some here, and this is from a company called Survival Seed Vault, which is basically comes in a sealed can. And I bought this years ago, but they are good for a really long time. Actually, you can find these at mypatriotsupply.com. And you know, I could read you the whole list. There's quite a bit of stuff in it, but I'll read a couple of them. But I got to put on my birth control here to read that. So, you know, it's got a special green sprouting broccoli. It's got a Bloomsdale spinach, California wonder pepper. It's got carrots and cucumbers and lettuce and squash, peas, cantaloupe, watermelon. It's got a golden bantam corn, beefsteak tomato. It's got radish, Blue Lake bush bean, which I'm telling you, I've grown those out of this company before. Those are really good. Cabbage, yellow Spanish onions, Swiss chard, Detroit dark red beet, snowball cauliflower, and black beauty zucchini, which I have done that one before as well. And all good. All very good. They also have a country gentleman if you're into the Silver Queen white kind of corn there. So let me take my professor glasses off there. So, you know, the garden's probably a really good idea. And so maybe as part of my journal, I will start carrying through with that, because there's just so many reasons to do your own garden. For one, with everybody being, you know, on, I almost said lockdown. We're really not on lockdown, but it is stay-at-home type thing. I see people out there saying they're getting bored. They're really getting a little bit of cabin fever, so to speak. So, you know, get out there and plant you a garden or two. Look back through my videos. There's one there from years back. You'll get to see me with really short hair, you know, no hair, basically. Where a segment of the video, I show how to grow stuff on straw. There's a whole nother reason for all of that and everything. You ought to just go check it out. But really nice feature if you don't have a lot of room, or you don't want to be bending down, or you want to have less weeding to do, blah, blah, blah. Just, you know, check out that video or Google gardening on straw, stuff like that. Anyway, so another food source that is really interesting and unique, if you have ever eaten wheat sprouts, bean sprouts, sunflower sprouts, or any of that stuff, that's a food source that you can actually create really fast, because all you're doing is sprouting seeds, basically. I think as fast as 5 days I've had things from seeds. Probably even less than that. I think even closer to 3 days. You know, after you actually soak them the first night, and there's some of them, I think some of those alfalfa sprouts maybe, or was the wheat sprouts. But anyway, it's nice to have stuff like that. You know, just like a bag of seeds this big. This is clover, by the way. Clover sprouts, you know, a bag this size, which is only like 4 ounces, will create a bunch of food. But the thing about sprouts is, chemically speaking, the compounds in the sprouts are in a more basic building block, as opposed to like full-grown vegetables and other plants. It's kind of really interesting. And the fact that when you eat those, the body actually better utilizes them. And it's because it is more in a basic compound, a more basic compound nature. So anyway, so a third option is actually regrowing food. Wait, what? Yeah, there's a lot of food that you can regrow. And, you know, if you're sitting home, Google it. You know, find some of that stuff that you can regrow. I'll give you one example. Now, they ain't looking really good right now because I do need to trim them up because I hadn't eaten them enough. But if you use green onions, and you know, it's got the bulb and then you got the long green stem, and you've chopped it up and you've used it. If you just drop that bulb in water, you will actually get a whole nother crop of it. And it'll do this, gosh, I don't know how many times. But, you know, they really don't cost that much, but that's not the thing. The thing is that, you know, we usually just throw it away. So rather than having to go to the store when we really don't want to be making trips to the store anymore, regrow some of that food. If you really like mushrooms, like portobello mushrooms, I know that you can actually take what people refer to the stump, and you can actually regrow the cap. You know, jump out there and Google it, see what all you come up with and everything. Hey, I really didn't mean to go that long on this, and so anyway, hope you find some of the information useful. So I'm just going to head out on that, and just want you to be safe, be smart, be wise, in any order. Just make sure you do all of them, and welcome to the new normal.